Hey everyone. So, have you ever had the experience of regret in your life? I'm sure you have. I have. I know I have. And everyone at some point in their life experiences regret. And regret is simply, having the option of making a decision or a choice or taking an action and not going forward with that and then regretting or wishing that you had taken that step or taken that direction. That's regret. That's what it is. And in life we all tend to have regrets in one way or another. Life will many times give you an opportunity to take a step back and revisit that issue, that challenge, and try to move past it in the way that you should have the first time around. So here's an example of that. When I was in my early 20s, I used to work as a barista at Starbucks. And back then, I used to work the drive-through at the store that I was at. And our store was near a TV station. And we used to have a lot of local celebrities come through the store and get coffee and so forth. So on this particular occasion, we had a well-known reporter, come into the store, and she was coming in to get a cup of coffee. And I saw her, and I thought, oh my gosh, she's absolutely gorgeous. She's so beautiful. But you could tell that the makeup was caked on her face. Now, obviously that is required if you're going to be on camera, if you're going to do any kind of work on TV and so forth. They cake that makeup on because you have to make sure you look a certain way on camera. And I was young, I was immature, I didn't really know how to keep my mouth shut when I needed to keep it shut. And I was in the drive-thru and I mentioned to my coworker, I said, she's absolutely gorgeous, but you can tell that makeup is caked on. And my boss at the time, she was poking me in the back, and she's like, and I'm like, what? And I turned to her and I'm like, what? And she's like, and she's pointing to the wall. Well, where I was in the drive-thru, the wall only goes up so far, and then there's the other side of the wall, and that's where the condiment bar would be at. So, unbeknownst to me, she was actually right on the other side of the wall, so she overheard everything that I was saying about her, and how she seemed a little, prudish, or she didn't seem very happy. And she didn't react. She didn't say anything. And I also made the mistake of, when we were saying goodbye to her, I also made the mistake of calling her by another reporter's name. And this is a reporter that worked for a completely different station in our area. So I got her name wrong. And then on top of that, I insulted her while she was getting her coffee, making her coffee. So she left, and I felt horrible. I felt bad. I felt like, what a douchebag! I'm such a horrible person. What's wrong with me? Why would I say these things about her? Who am I to say anything about her? And I felt horrible about it. And for years and years and years, this haunted me. And I think I'm grateful for that experience because it taught me that I really should filter sometimes what comes out of my mouth. If it's going to hurt somebody, if it's my truth, if it's what I feel is authentic within me, then yeah, be honest, be open, be whatever. But if you feel a certain way towards others, you don't really have the right to hurt them. You don't have the right to say anything about them or to them in a destructive way. It's just not your place to hurt other people. And I felt horrible because I felt like I sent out negative energy. I hurt her. And years and years this followed me. This followed me for many, many years. I felt horrible about it. I vowed that if I ever had the opportunity to apologize for my behavior and to apologize to her for hurting her, if a chance ever came up, I would apologize. But I felt horrible for it. Fast forward 7 years, okay? So we go 7 years into the future. I am now the manager of my own store. I'm in a completely different part of town. And I was working the night before the night before I was at home meditating, and that week I had heard all about this book called Eat, Pray, and Love, and I think maybe you've heard about it. If not, you should check out the book. It's pretty good. And I know the movie's out, Eat, Pray, and Love with Julia Roberts. The movie was nowhere near as good as the book was. I just have to say, the book was amazing. The movie was okay, but the book was amazing. I wanted to read the book because I'd heard about it on Oprah, and then I'd also heard about it from some friends, and it was just following me. I felt like the book was following me. I'm like, okay, I think I'm supposed to read this book. And the book is about essentially making peace with life and going with the flow, right? That's what the book is about. I told myself after meditation, I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get this book because it sounds to me like I need to read it. It's following me everywhere, so I think life or the universe is trying to tell me that I'm supposed to read this book. So I decided that the next day after work I was going to go and buy the book. Was working my shift at my store, and guess who walks in the door? And it's this reporter. And I'm like, oh my god, like it's her. Like, like I've been waiting years to talk to this person because I wanted to apologize for my behavior, and here she is coming in the door now, like, now's your chance. So she came up to the counter. She didn't recognize me. She didn't know who I was. She ordered her coffee, and I'm just there, and I'm like trying to find the right moment to have the words come out of my mouth, hey, I don't know, you don't remember me, but, many, many years ago, I'm trying to come up with the words, and the words would not come out of my mouth. And so she got her coffee, she walked over, she sat down at the bar, and she was there for a few moments, and I was like, okay, how do I say this? How do I approach her? And I just could not muster up enough courage to go and talk to her. And then a friend of hers walked in. I think she was waiting for a coworker. They came in, they hugged, and then they talked for a few moments, and I'm like, great, now she's not by herself, now there's somebody else there. If I go up and apologize to her for something that happened 7 years ago, it's going to be totally weird. As soon as the friend came in, they ended up leaving a few moments later, and I was like, damn it, like, I knew in that moment that I had lost my opportunity to make amends and to apologize for something that happened years and years and years ago. And so I felt horrible. I couldn't cope with the fact that I just let an opportunity like that slip through my fingers. So I went to the back room, I sat down, and I was just there in a dark cloud of regret, just like, no, why? Why would I let this happen? Why, I've got to, I don't know, should I, like, run down the street, see if I can catch up with her? And then my barista comes to the back room, and she comes and she brings me a book, and she's like, hey, one of our customers left the book out in the lobby. And I was like, oh no, okay. So I grabbed the book, I looked at it, and it was Eat, Pray, and Love. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the book that I was just about to go get this afternoon. Oh my gosh, this is the book, So I take the book, I open it up, and there's a bookmark that was kind of sticking out of the book. So I open it up to look at the bookmark, and the bookmark says, if you find this book, please read it and then leave it for someone else to find and share it. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And that concept was so foreign to me, like just leaving something on purpose for someone else to have. Like, that idea was foreign to me because I come from a background growing up where you don't just give things away. Like, you don't just give things away to other people. Like, you have to struggle for everything you have. So for you to give something away, like, what's wrong with you? So for someone to have left that book for somebody else to find, I thought that thought in my mind was so boggling to me. But at the same time, it was around the same time that I was learning about energy and manifestation and, attracting or pulling into your life what you'd like to experience. So I looked at the bookmark, so it said that, and then right underneath there was a signature, and it was signed by the person who left it, and guess who it was? It was this reporter. So I was like, oh my, I think my brain fell out of my head at that point, because I just could not fathom, like, all of these components coming together to create this experience for me to have. And not only was I having the opportunity to make amends with this person, but also she was bringing to me the book that I was going to get that day. So I was like, okay, I'm like, the universe has gone through a lot of trouble to bring these circumstances about just for me to have that opportunity to apologize to this woman. So now I have to apologize. Like, I have to find her, I have to apologize to her. I just happened to notice the company logo on her shirt when she was in the, because she worked for a different company, so she was no longer a reporter. But I noticed the company logo, so I thought, okay, let me look up that company and see if they've got like a contact information or something. And I looked it up, and I did manage to find her email, and I thought, okay, how am I going to word this? Because I'm going to come off as if I'm crazy. So dear so-and-so, hi, you don't know me, but I met you 7 years ago working at this Starbucks in this part of town, yada yada. And you came in, and so I kind of gave her a play-by-play of what happened then, or from my experience. And then I ended up with, I'm so sorry. I want to take this time and apologize to you, and I am so sorry for having ever offended you and all this other stuff. So I said all these different things to her about it. And I also said, thank you so much. And you have no idea, but this book is, I was going to get this book. And I told her the whole story about me getting that book, and it was following me all week. and I told her that I just really appreciated her being where she is in her life right now, for her to line up with these circumstances, and I felt that she's in the place she's supposed to be. She looks so much more happier where she was now than when I met her 7 years ago, and she looked so much more natural, and she just looked like she belonged where she was. So I said all these different things. Crazy, right? It sounds crazy. Within the hour, she responds, and she's like, oh my God, like, as soon as I began to read your email, I stopped dead in my tracks, and I had to move to the side because I was blocking people from walking, and I had to move around and, kind of go to an area so that I could just finish reading this email, because I had to read this email, and I was caught off guard by it. And so she mentioned that she had done a lot of work since that 7-year time period, and she was so unhappy back then, and I must have been reflecting back to her who she was and where she was in her life at that time. And now for me to come along and reflect back to her who she's become and what has happened in her life, she just felt so grateful for that. And not only that, but she had asked that day whether she was in alignment, or whether she was on her path, and all the decisions that she had made, even though she was much more happier. If she was asking and wondering, she asked the universe, am I where I'm supposed to be? And then here I come along out of the blue with an email from someone I met her 7 years ago saying to her, you are where you're supposed to be, and you seem so happy, and this is where you belong. Like, it just blew her mind. And so I think we connected in that moment, and she said no worries about anything that happened 7 years ago. We both were different people back then, and she didn't remember it, and it's okay. And she's a new person now. So it was an amazing interaction and an amazing connection that happened, all because of this need, my regret for wanting to reach out to this person and just apologize for something that I did so long ago. And so it doesn't matter whether you have regrets or not. Life, if something is bothering you, if something is really eating away at you, even if just a little bit. And it's not like I went days and days for 7 years thinking about this. It was always there in the back of my mind. But the universe, life, everything is a reflection of who we are. You think that the world exists and we're separate from the world? No, like, everything exists within us, and the world is a reflection of what is happening within us. So I always tell people, it's like your state of being that determines your life, that determines who you're going to be, that determines what you're going to experience in your life. It's your state of being, because you are calling into being everything. We are all God's in living form. We are all creators, and we are creating our lives every second, every moment, based off of who we are, who we choose to be, what we think, what we feel, how we act. So we create our reality. And if there's something there that's internally conflicted within you, life will bring about an opportunity in some form or fashion for you to resolve it. And even if you miss out on an opportunity, you will get another one. So anytime you have an opportunity to resolve something within yourself that you wish you would have done differently, take that opportunity and resolve it. Because the feeling of just having that peace and releasing something that's eating away at you, it's like, these things are what turn into cancer in your body. It's like cancer is this energy that just consumes you from within, and sometimes these thoughts, these emotions, these bits of energy will become settled in our body, and they start to form and become cancerous to us. So if you have an opportunity to make peace with something in your life that you've always wanted to make peace with, even if you don't have to wait for something to come along for you to make peace with it, just reach out and try to make peace with it as best you can. But either way, life is going to offer you opportunities to do so. Take advantage of those opportunities, because they are precious, and when they come along, grab it by the horns. Alright guys, well, I hope you enjoyed my story about making peace with personal regret. If you enjoyed the story, please give me a thumbs up. And also, if you have a story just like mine, or if you'd like to share a time where you felt a regret in your life and you wish you would have changed that, or you did get the opportunity to change that, I would love to hear about it. So don't forget to mention it in the comments section below. Until next time, bye guys.